Hello and welcome to Kaiju Curry House, episode 114. I'm Connor, that's Paul, and today we are talking about the movie The Cave. Yes. But before all that, the usual question, Paul, what have Kaiju been up to?
It's like there's no one else you can ask, is there?
No. Oh, it's like we're missing two people. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, we'll power through.
Yeah.
So what have I been up to that's kaiju related? I'm still working my way through Dawn of the Monsters, which I know I
Ooh.
started last year now, I think it must have been. It was a long time ago.
Good things come to those who wait, as they say.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to burn myself out and like play it constantly. So I thought I'll do like a mission a week, and then stuff got in the way. But I've picked it back up again, and it's quite tough. Like I'm managing to get through, but my rating's like F or G. It's like, okay, so I clearly need to work on combos because I'm just like punch, punch, punch. It's like, no.
A disgrace to the kaiju community.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes I just die, but I have managed to make it through. But yeah, I'm obviously not doing it right because my ratings are awful. So that's been it's good fun. Still enjoying the game. It's just a bit of a challenge. Now I'm in the later stages and clearly haven't learned how to play it properly, or forgot since I last played it. But other than that, and watching The Cave, I haven't been up to a huge kaiju amount. I did see a bit of kaiju-y news that I'll share. So Gigabash is coming to the Xbox and Nintendo Switch.
Oh, thank God.
So but it's been locked on PlayStation, and now they haven't said when. They've just said we're working on it. So I'm guessing Sony had rights or some sort of, maybe they helped develop it for whatever reason. They are now making it for other consoles, and I look forward to picking it up on Xbox. That's my preferred platform of choice.
Yeah, you've saved me £500 buying a PlayStation 5. So
that would be a very, very expensive game. Yeah, definitely wait for the Xbox release. It's going to be a long time because I'm sure they're a small studio, but it looks good. In fact, by the time it's on Xbox, it'll probably be, like the Game of the Year edition. It'll be with all the DLC bundled in, maybe, because they've just done DLC 1, didn't they, at Christmas time with Godzilla. There's obviously going to be a DLC 2, or they wouldn't have numbered it. Perhaps by the time it finally comes to us, we'll get the Ultimate Edition, and that'll be...
Have they hinted yet to what DLC 2 is, or are they just...
No, they haven't said anything. I'm in the Discord chat, but I haven't seen anything pop up about it.
Yeah.
What would you like to see, Connor?
I'd like to see some Ultraman monsters.
Ultraman, okay.
Seeming a lot of the kaiju in Gigabash are based on Ultra monsters. So,
oh, are they?
Yep. Or some Godzilla monsters, I guess. Yeah. But yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, I guess they wouldn't have Gamera because I'm sure there must be some sort of legal thing where Toho said you can't have those two fight in case Godzilla loses.
Yeah, there was a game that came out a few years back. I think it's called. It's a Japanese game where you play as a civilian and you're running away from the giant
Shrouded in Shadow.
That's it. Yeah. And basically, while it has like Ultraman, Godzilla, Mothra, the Evangelion stuff,
they're all
there's a clause that was in place that none of these characters could interact with each other.
Right, so that's how they get around. If I say, because I've played through the game and Gamera was in it, Godzilla was in it, but they're never on screen at the same time. They can't fight each other.
No. I think maybe it's a favoritism thing. It's like you can't have Gamera fight Godzilla or something like that.
Well, that's it. Because there would probably be fans kicking off if someone did a video where like, Gamera beats Godzilla. And there's everyone go, boo, no, that wouldn't happen. It's a game. Have fun.
Yeah, I think there was, what was it? There was a video ages ago. It was like the CGI animation. I think it was by Screw Attack, I think, when the website was still around. Yeah. I think it's owned by Rooster Teeth nowadays. It just basically it shows like a CGI fight between Godzilla and Gamera getting like a whole shot through him or something like that. It's totally unrealistic, but
well, someone did like a fan made a Godzilla versus Gamera clip, didn't they? Like a minute or two long only last year, and that was really impressive for someone on their own.
Mhm. Oh
I
yeah.
don't think either one, but it just, they were just toying around, and that looked awesome. Yeah, they probably won't have Gamma in it. Ultraman, they could do,
True.
because he
Yeah.
just looks like Jet Jaguar.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's
Ooh.
just a poor man's Jet Jaguar. Admit it. No,
Ult-
I know.
60, Ultraman
The Hulk is
1966,
now
Jet
in
Jaguar
uproar.
1973. But anyways, yeah.
Anyway,
Uh,
so there's that. I'll scratch that. I also saw Matt Frank posted to say that there's going to be I think it was a 4K version of The Guyver, like the live action movie, and it's to be the unrated version, because apparently there's like a mild unrated edition that's released, but this is the not released extreme unrated edition that has, I guess, extra gore, which is cool because Guyver's, was an extremely violent anime, and then there was blood in the film, but I guess it was cut a little bit to make it more cinema friendly to get that rating.
what I love about the Guyver film, I've never seen the anime, I've only seen the film,
Oh,
but
watch the anime. So
the
good.
the older sort of DVD releases show Mark Hamill on the front cover, right? But
Yeah.
it's like a split face thing. So you've got
Half Guyver face.
half Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
but he doesn't play the Guyver on the
No,
film.
he's the cop, isn't he?
He's the cop that gets transformed into like a slug monster or something. Oh, I don't know. Oh dear.
But
But
he's in the film,
yeah,
and it's Mark Hamill, so he needs to be on the front cover.
that's true. Oh man. I just think it was just more like a reanimator cast reunion, if you've ever seen the film, Reanimator. Because
I'm trying to think if I have. I know it, but I don't know if I've actually seen it.
yeah, there's the main villain in the Guyver is the main villain in Reanimator, and
Okay.
there's a scientist in the lab called Doctor East.
Hmm.
In Reanimator, the same actor plays a character called Doctor West. So
That's brilliant.
yeah, so yeah, go watch Guyver, folks.
Yeah, because it's also under the name of Mutronics, isn't it? In some places.
I think it was Mutronics over here for a bit, but the Arrow release that came out recently
Was Guyver.
was Guyver. Yeah.
Okay.
But hey ho. Anyways,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was awesome. Other than that, no. The only thing I thought of when I was racking my brains of what have Kaiju been up to was I know I watched Castlevania season 4, and I can't remember if I mentioned it on here or not. I could have done. I might not have done. So I will just say I watched it and it was very good because I started it, like not last year, the year before. Probably watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and then something came along and I just completely forgot. And then I was looking and I was thinking, I don't remember ending, like seeing how it ended. And so I started watching like episode 1. I was like, no, I've seen this. And then like I skipped to the end. I was like, no, I haven't seen this. So I was just trying to find out where I got up to. And I finished it and I thought it was great. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but I did love that show.
they are doing a spin-off show of Castlevania, but I think it's like I think it's Richter Belmont from like Symphony of the Night. If you've ever played that, I think.
love Symphony of the Night, so I'm down for that.
Yeah, I might be 100% wrong, so don't. Castlevania fans, go away. But but I did watch a bit of the first season of Castlevania, but never finished it. So I guess I'm going to have to
I'll
add
go
that
back
to the
and
list.
watch season 1 of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. But yeah, that's me done. So Connor, what have Kaiju been up to?
Well, Paul, so I watched Q the Winged Serpent, and unfortunately, because of scheduling problems, I couldn't record last episode for Q. So I've written down a mini review on my
fantastic.
phone. Yeah. So I've just written down some highlights. So it has a beef jerky man in it.
Okay, yep.
People get unfazed with blood dripped on them.
No, they got phased, didn't they? They were looking up like,
no, but it's more like, what is that? And, it's like, the character Quinn really likes that piano. David
because he can
Carradine.
play it in real life.
David Carradine just doesn't give us. Richard Roundtree's character is completely wasted.
I'm not hearing positive things here.
Stop motion magic. New Yorkers complaining about everything. Three different plots somehow merged into one: a murder plot, a heist plot, and a monster plot. Monster's got nothing to do with the murders. That's just what I just assumed watching it.
I mean, the monster's got nothing to do with the murders.
I think it's just a guy just killing folk, and there just so happens to be a monster going about.
No, because he's trying to summon the monster, or did summon the monster.
What if it's just a bird, Paul?
Just a coincidence.
It's just a bird.
It's just a bird. Big bird.
Quinn being a lovable scumbag, they just accept there's a monster. It's not like this. Quinn's girlfriend's a keeper. Yeah.
She's a keeper.
Quinn is a vicious, I can't say that word. Oops. But yeah. 10 out of 10, go watch it. There you go. That's
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
High praise.
Yeah. So yeah, Cue the Winged Serpent. So I watched that and wasn't there to record. But anyways. Also, I also got a cat, right? Yep. So the cat is called Quint. So if any of our listeners know where that name comes from a certain film with a shark in it.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea. Yeah. It's the name of the shark that eats Samuel Jackson. I'm joking. But so I got a cat called Quint, and it is it's a nice cat, yeah. And still recovering the fact that we thought it was a boy, and then we found it was a girl. So yeah. So there's that.
Have you got it a Godzilla costume or any sort of cat costume? Ready for Halloween?
I could get a costume for Halloween, but maybe I could actually get a Quint costume, just like a fisherman's hat and all that. Yeah. If the cat doesn't scratch my hands up, but yeah, go get a cat, folks. You'll like cats. The cat might not like you, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So there's that. That's a bit non-kaiju related, I suppose, but
yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, you're going to say, oh, but I've got a kaiju costume for the cat.
It's just because the cat's called Quint, that's all. But
okay.
Yeah. I also pre-ordered, so PS Publishing, which is a publishing house, and there's a shock. PS Publishing is publishing the original screenplay for King Kong from the 1930s, right? And it is by Edgar Wallace, right? And I pre-ordered that recently as well, mostly because the artwork for both the cover and the interior is being done by Bob Eggleton. So, nice. Yeah. And it's £25 and it's still up for pre-order. It's not out until, what is it, sometime in March. So, yeah, if you want some extra King Kong goodness and you want the original screenplay for King Kong with some nice Bob Eggleton art, go pre-order, I suppose, for £25, unlike a certain Kickstarter, which was £99. And the last thing, I think kaiju related, is I was made aware on a Facebook group about this book here. This is called Monster Makers Incorporated, right? And when I saw it on Facebook, on the cover was a illustration of a Godzilla toy, right? I was like, what is this? So I did some digging, and apparently it's not just you've got these like stuff like games or movies or whatever that would put Godzilla on the cover, not because Godzilla's in it, but it's like a stock image of like a dinosaur or something like that, right? No, it turns out Godzilla is a character in this book, right? And as far as I'm aware, so it's an unlicensed Godzilla product for a start.
They're the best.
The author didn't get the rights to Godzilla, but it is what it is, I suppose. It's set on an alien planet. It's not even set on Earth, right? And it's just about a company that makes monsters for people. So, yeah. But what's weird as well is that my copy of this book is actually a proof copy. I don't know how I managed to get hold of this. Like it even says right there, uncorrected proofs. So because it's strange because it's like it's a paperback, but yeah, it's got a dust jacket. It's an odd phenomena. So I guess I have a rare piece of Godzilla merch. I guess.
Yeah.
Even though it's unlicensed, but yeah. So yeah, Monster Makers Incorporated. So.
But I have to. So they're on another planet. It's not on Earth.
No, but it's like I don't know. I don't know.
I just wonder who are they making these monsters for? This company.
The people.
Do they sell to Earthlings?
No, I don't know. I just skimmed through it. Oh dear. But yeah. So go read Monster Makers Incorporated. It's probably a kid's book. I'm just a weirdo just buying it. But go read it. Oh man, but yeah. Aside from that, I guess that's all I've been up to. I guess so. I guess we should.
That's a good amount.
Move on to the main events. I think, Paul.
Yeah. Right, the main feature. Before we do, I do just want to say about Q, the winged serpent. I did have a comment on the YouTube video from Bazza Bazilla. It's edited, so I think he must have said something because it starts with "Actually, yes, you're right." So I think he must have said something, edited it. So just the edited version. But he said, "I saw Q many, many, many years ago for the first time. Not long after it first came out. So obviously back in '82. I've only recently found out it may have been based on an old black and white film called The Flying Serpent, and that was made in 1946." And he said, although it's dated, it's still quite an entertaining film. And I always thought Q was a black and white old film. So I'm wondering if I got confused between Q, the winged serpent, and the flying serpent. And that's why I thought, oh, it's black and white.
I always just assumed that Q was a modern update to the Giant Claw, honestly. But,
okay.
Yeah. For those unaware, the Giant Claw is a very infamous 1950s B movie with they wanted to get Ray Harryhausen to do the special effects. They couldn't, so they hired a company in Mexico to create this very unique creature that they deliberately hid in the posters. And allegedly, when the main actor went to a showing in his local town, as soon as the bird comes on, they laughed and he left. No. Oh dear. Go watch The Giant Claw if you haven't already. It's in an Arrow box set, so go get it.
Oh, is it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Oh man.
Right. So The Cave.
Yes.
You haven't seen The Cave.
I haven't, Paul.
Which will make this quite challenging because it's just going to be me talking about it. So you can throw in any questions you have and I'll do my best to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
So to sum it, to talk a bit about The Cave. It's a monster movie released back in 2005. So not modern, but not old. It didn't do great. It had a budget of 30 million and it made at the box office worldwide 33 million. So it didn't lose money, and it must have made money when it was released on DVD and then subsequent releases afterwards. But it's clearly not good enough. There's never a sequel. On Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 12% rating.
You shouldn't rely on Rotten Tomatoes, Paul. Shouldn't rely on them. They're an unreliable source.
12% from them and 28% from the audience score.
Oh well, the audience lied. I'm joking.
So either way, it's still not great. On IMDb, it got 5.1% overall. So, distinctly average. They're saying. So that's how I'm going to start off talking about this film. The fact that no one seems to really like it. Yeah.
By the way,
Um,
listeners, we were discussing before recording which movie we want to talk about, and the other option was Dog Soldiers, but
which I think is better received. Yeah. Well, actually, no. I was reading back those messages because Alex said, "Oh, it's directed by the same guy as Dog Soldiers." I was like, "Okay, cool." No, he actually said in his message, "Should we watch Dog Soldiers or The Descent?"
yeah.
And I went from The Descent, where they go into a cave, to it's the cave. And I was like, "So we're watching The Cave, yeah?" We should have really been talking about The Descent. Maybe we'll do that another time. That's completely my fault. The Cave is not directed by the Dog Soldiers guy, whose name I've forgotten.
Neil Marshall.
Neil Marshall, that's the one. It's directed by a guy called Bruce Hunt. That name might not ring any bells because I think this is the only film he's directed.
Mm-hmm.
But he has worked on other films, some reasonably decent ones. He worked on like the Matrix films, Dark City, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. So it's not that he hasn't done films, it's just he's always been like the assistant director or something, whereas this was, I guess, his shot at being an actual director.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I guess because the film wasn't a success, he didn't get picked up again, which is a shame. Cast wise, I think it's a really good cast. Or, there's some people that I recognise in it and I like. There's Daniel Day Kim, who I know from Lost, but I'm sure he's done lots of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I can name them. Lena Headley, or is it Lena Headley? You pronounce Lena Headley, isn't it? You say. I know her from Sarah Connor Chronicles, but I think she was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she played Cersei in Game of Thrones, and she was also the main villain in the film Dredd, which is based off of Judge Dredd.
Yes,
yeah,
that was an awesome.
A bit of a spoiler: her face becomes a squashed tomato by the end of that film. But yeah.
Who else was in it? There was Piper Perabo, Morris Chestnut, Cole Hazer. I don't really I'm just reading out some names from IMDb because I don't recognize them. But
that's a shame.
It's got them in it. Well, count me in. But yeah, so I think it's a good casting. There's no bad actors in it at all. And despite this being his only film, it doesn't, like, you wouldn't look at it and go, "Oh, that's a badly directed film." There are some bits where it looks unclear. You can't really work out what's happening. I just thought maybe that was a budget thing. It is his inexperience as a director, but he's filming in a cave and also lots of underwater bits. So it's very hard, to see in a dark cave or to get clear underwater shots if there's a battle. And it just makes it look like, they didn't have the budget to show the monster, so perhaps they're just going to do some shaky cam so you can't really see it.
And how much of the monster do we actually see in the film? Is there one monster or is there multiple?
There's multiple monsters, and you do see them more towards the end of the film.
Right.
There are some more lit up areas where you get a proper look at it, or look at them. It's like there's several of them, and it's a cool looking creature. It doesn't look cheap when you see it. I'm pretty sure it's all CGI. I don't know if it's CGI'd or not, actually. Some bits definitely are, but it must be a mix. But yeah, the effects when you see the creature are pretty good. I've got it's like a giant bat, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And it does because it's in a cave, it uses echolocation to find things. So there is that clicking noise you hear a lot.
That's a bit like, have you ever seen Pitch Black? I guess.
Yes.
There's the creatures in Pitch Black that come out at dark.
That's it. Yeah, they can only see, can't they, through... Is that how they see?
I think if I remember correctly, it's like sound or something, or echolocation, I think.
Yeah, I'm just remembering that there's that scene where Vin Diesel's like right in front of the creature and he's kind of moving to mimic him so he can't see him because he's up close or something. And I'm trying to think how that worked. But that's another good film, actually, Pitch Black.
Yeah, that was an episode.
That's another episode too, yeah.
Yeah, just do all the Riddick films while we're at it.
Yeah. Sure, I would. I like them all. I'm happy with them.
But,
Right, okay. But the cave.
Yes, the cave.
Right, so let's talk a bit about the cave. So in the cave, unsurprisingly, there is a cave. I'm trying to remember how it actually starts, but effectively they find this ancient opening. There's like a seal on it that's got some pictures of demons, and it's been sealed for years, so no one goes down there because the monsters are down there, and it's a gateway to hell or whatever. But they're like, no, we're cave explorers. We're going to find out what's going on. We want to explore these caves that haven't been seen in a long time. So
I think realistically, if you went spelunking and you went to a cave, right?
Yeah,
and you saw like some devil stuff there, they're like, nope, back I go.
But no, I mean these are professional, but they've got all the gear. They want to go in and get photos and videos. They're not archaeologists.
They're idiots, Paul. They're idiots.
They're not, I mean, they are all qualified people that are going in to try and find out what's happening, see this new ecosystem, see what stuff is hidden down there. But they've got to kind of go down and make a base camp, and then kind of just go deeper and deeper and see what they can find. But when one of them's going in with his little, I don't know what they're called, the scuba machines, he gets attacked by a creature. The scuba machine goes off, hits a rock, blows up, and then there's a landslide cave in the cave. And so they're all now trapped underground, like 3 miles or something from where they went in, underground, limited food, and no one's going to be checking on them for 2 weeks. So they're like, well, what do we do? We better find a way out.
And there's plenty of oxygen too, it seems.
I mean, the option is we can wait around and hope someone comes to get us, or we can go deeper and try and find an exit. And I think one person does say, let's just stay and wait. But they're like, no one's going to be coming for a long old time. Let's keep going and see if we can find a way out.
I told you they're idiots. The one smart guy, and it's like, no, we must see the demons.
But if no one's going to come and save you for 12 days, like 2 weeks, you're going to think, well, maybe we should see what we can find.
Well, sure, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's they've got like a leader who's like a cave diver chap. So he's like, I know what I'm doing. Follow me. Because the deeper they go, they find out, oh, there's something here that's hunting us. Not good. And he kills a few. He bites some others, and he bites the lead character, or the lead diver guy, and he starts to change. So suddenly his hearing's really good, or his like smells really good.
So they're like vampires then, or something like that.
Yeah, think something like that. They've got like a biologist there, and she's like looking at samples. It's like, oh, this creature and that creature both have this same virus in them. What's going on here? And so, as you can guess, yeah, they're going through the caves trying to find a way out. They're being led by someone who is seemingly becoming less and less human. Like by the end of it, his eyes are all freaky weird. I remember there's a scene where like he goes, oh, there's water up there. He goes, what, you can hear it? I'm like, no, I can smell it. I'm like, okay, but they're going to put their trust in him because he's led them, and one of them is his brother. So he's like, he's my brother. He's fine. I know he's acting a bit weird, but he's fine. And then kind of near the end, so I should say full spoilers here, if that wasn't already clear. By the end, there's not that many of them left, but one of them's like, okay, we'll follow the leader, although he's not fully human anymore. We trust him. He'll lead us to safety. And the other guys are like, nope, we're going to go back the way we came because we think we found another exit. As it turns out, the leader, half-human guy, is still doing the right thing, and he is trying to help them. And a few of them managed to safely find their way out. And then, shocker at the end, one of them was bit, and they're now that mutant, the virus is now out in the world. So one of them is now living outside the cave, and they've got the weird eyes. So they're now going to, I guess, turn into this creature. That's So it's
a good story.
I mean, to be fair, it's quite a basic story, isn't it? People go diving, they get trapped, they're hunted by monsters. Some survive. It's a nice, simple premise. I've don't go in expecting this to be some genius thing, but it's not bad at all. I enjoyed it. I thought it's a really cool monster movie.
But what do the monsters represent?
There could be some metaphors in there. If they were, they just were straight over my head. I went in there thinking I'm going to watch some people get killed off by monsters. That's why I watch these monster films. So
you know what? You've sold the movie to me. Just that just premise.
I mean, I can't say, it's amazing, you have to see it. I'm sure people will go, going by the reviews, it's very average, it's kind of generic, but it's not, people watch sci-fi films like, the Asylum films, which are always not that well acted and pretty poor on the effects side, but people still enjoy them. They know what they're getting into. So as long as you know what you're getting into the cave, as long as you're not expecting anything amazing, but you're thinking, I'm going to watch a decent monster movie, then I think you'll be fine.
I'm glad that The Cave is in the same level as Asylum films.
No, it's it feels much more competent than that. I'm trying to think what I would compare it to on, like, for another monster film, like, just to let you know what kind of level you're getting on. But
The Descent.
So what was The Descent about? Do people descend into a cave and there's monsters?
Yes.
And they have to get out? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. When did The Descent come out? Was this
that's a good question, actually.
I'm just wondering now, because The Descent got a sequel, whereas this didn't.
The Descent came out in 2005.
No.
Yes.
What are the odds?
That's actually quite common.
2 films.
It's quite common in Hollywood for, like.
Oh yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? Because you do
the same plot. Just
What's going to be popular this year? Going into a cave.
Like there's A Quiet Place, and then there was like another film which was like Don't Speak or the Monsters Will Get You or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but they came out roughly around the same time with the exact same premise. Hey ho. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting because I didn't realize. Well, The Descent got a lot, not hugely better, but it was definitely more positively received.
Well, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about The Cave for a second.
No. The Descent was better reviewed than The Cave.
Brain fart. Yeah. Oh man.
I can't remember The Descent, but obviously I get the 2 confused. Does one of them, does a diver or whoever they are get bit and turn in The Descent as well? Because if they do, that's fantastic. If it's the same plot.
Oh god, that has been ages.
Can you remember?
I'm just checking. Okay, so The Cave came out in August and The Descent came out in July.
Oh.
A month apart.
That's cruel.
Oh dear.
But I mean, they make them fair bit in advance. They must have thought at the exact same time. Oh. They must have heard, this studio's making a cave film and it's getting good buzz. Let's ride that wave.
Oh dear. Hollywood's a funny place, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I would say watch both of them because I'm sure The Descent was more of a horror. I remember in my head, Descent was quite a creepy film, whereas The Cave wasn't scary, but it was more of a fun monster film.
I mean, it's debatable whether or not The Descent is scary or not. If you're used to watching monster movies, I suppose. But
yeah, I'll have to watch The Descent now, just compare it.
Watching many films as a kid with rubber monsters has desensitized me to this sort of thing. So yeah,
so you won't. The Cave is not scary. It it's not particularly. No, I don't think it's really that gory. There's just a bit of blood. So I mean, it's not family friendly, but it's not. I'm sure. I think it was rated like 12. It's absolutely fine to watch for teenagers to enjoy. It's like you could class it as like a slasher film. There's a monster running around killing people just in the caves.
Compared to The Descent, which is like an 18, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I'm thinking Descent was scary, because it was trying to be a horror, whereas this was just, no, we're just gonna have a bit of fun with a creature feature.
Yeah.
And what I do like about The Cave, and probably The Descent as well, but I can't remember that, is the whole being in a cave and underwater. It is like an alien place, although it's set on Earth. So it does look creepy and stuff. It's all very tight, some really tight spaces, and then some huge wide spaces. There's some like lakes in there, so all this watering, like, well, what's in the water? Because this is an unknown ecosystem. There's what other creatures are lurking. So I think there's lots of good things about this film. It just, for whatever reason, doesn't quite reach the highs.
It's the execution of it, pretty much.
Yeah. Because I was, the acting's fine. The story's basic, but it serves a purpose. I think 5 is a bit low. I would have thought this would be more of a high 6, low 7, personally, but that's just me. I think it needs a bit more love than it's getting.
Oh dear, Paul's in denial. It's good, I swear.
I think it's not bad. The reviews don't say it's bad. Well, Rotten Tomatoes say so. IMDb, I think 5 is, what is 5? Just average. I'm trying to think how they do things on the scale, but it's like, well, if it's less than 5, then that's probably quite bad. But if it's more than 5, it's quite good. If it's 5, then it's just it is it exists. It's fine. It's average.
I think we need our own rating system on this podcast, don't you think?
If you can think of one, or if our viewers can think of one, I would love to hear it.
Type in the comments below what you think the official UK Kaiju rating system should be.
What would you rate it?
7 skronks out of 6. I don't know.
I'm sure we did a rating system ages ago. I think we did it with Alien. We're like, how was it on the Alien scale? Was it an Aliens, or was it an Alien Covenant? How? Whereas this would probably be like an Alien Resurrection level of film.
Oh dear. It's funny,
which I enjoyed,
which also has a scene of swimming creatures.
Yes, but that's a way cooler scene for underwater.
I remember I watched a documentary where they were boasting about those CG aliens in Alien Resurrection, of them just swimming in the thing. It's like, they're just CG aliens.
They look cool. They're underwater. We haven't seen that before.
Oh dear.
And they swim really well. They're like a fish. It's amazing how well they swim.
Yeah. And they don't have they don't have a nose, so they can't drown. They can't.
No. I guess they don't need oxygen, do they? They're fine.
Well, I suppose, if you watch Alien and Aliens, they get sucked into space and they're still going until
their respiratory system is not explained in the film. It doesn't need to be. Please don't do a prequel about it.
Yeah, don't do a prequel where they explain where the aliens come from and that they're not.
No, that would just ruin it.
Yeah, they're not aliens at all. They're just man-made. Oops.
Man-made bioweapons. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So Connor, will you be watching The Cave?
Maybe.
You you?
Well,
Q's The Cave.
Q's a classic.
No, it's not.
It's a cult classic.
A cult classic. Okay, yes, it's a cult classic.
Made by the same guy that directed The Stuff. So
I guess the Cave clearly wasn't bad enough to be so bad it's good film, and wasn't good enough to get mass attention. So it's just in that limbo where no one really cares enough. People just watch it and go, yeah, that was all right.
Oh man, I think we should just call this episode 113.5, where it just goes back to Q. Oh dear.
Yeah, I sat through all of Q.
You're talking like it's like a torturous experience.
No, it wasn't that bad. But when me and Joe were talking about it, we were just saying, actually, yeah, we were saying that it's not. There's no one you like in the film. None of the characters were nice. The only thing I liked was Q.
True.
So I was like, well, that's a bit of a. I mean, it's fun, sure, I guess there's no protagonist that you like in the film. The cops weren't nice. The scummy wife beating crook wasn't that nice.
Like I said, the girlfriend was literally the nicest character in the film.
Yeah.
She's a keeper.
And what Joe asked for at the end of the episode, he did say, right, we've seen Q. Can we have something a bit more light-hearted as our next movie? So we are going to put a poll up to go for a more light-hearted kaiju film. We have had 2 suggestions from M. Bryant. She said Detective Pikachu.
That's a good one.
Or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Ooh.
So that's 2 suggestions. Obviously, if you've got any, Connor, or if any listeners have some suggestions, please put them in. I'm going to put the poll up shortly on the Facebook page, and then people can just add them. But I'm trying to think myself of some light-hearted kaiju films.
I like Power Rangers. I like Detective Pikachu. I'll need to check if the movie's on Netflix. It might morphin, but
it's got to be somewhere. It's going to be on one streaming platform, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of a light-hearted film.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Because I was thinking, what's a fun film?
Has to be kaiju. Sorry, I'm joking.
Because we've had Crabs, which is obviously like really gory and stuff, but it was a comedy one, and we've had Notzilla. We've talked about them on the podcast already, so I can't use those.
Oh man,
which is a shame because I did love Crabs, and I would watch that again happily.
Yeah, and I would indeed love to see a sequel to Notzilla. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'll put you on the spot, and as I said, I can't really think of any myself, but that is our task over the next week, so I can put it in the chat in the Facebook group, so we can say this is what we're going to talk about next time. Go for it. Do you know what? Before I know this is just, as our listeners probably can tell by now, this is a bit of a last minute episode thing where we decided quite shortly what we were going to watch. Unfortunately, Joe couldn't make it, Alex couldn't make it, but I did quickly pop on Facebook, what people's thoughts on The Cave. So I'm just going to quickly check now to see if anyone commented and what they said. Oh, here we go. We've got 2 comments.
Oh, that's good.
So, here we go. M. Bryant again. She's got, okay. Because I put the trailer up so they could see it. Never seen this, but definitely intrigued by the trailer and the cast. There you go. See, I said good casting. And Brandon Hickley Smith, he said it's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. Have to watch it again at some point. But I remember being 50-50 with the whole film.
Oh no.
So not massively positive, but not negative either. I'm just going to point that out. As we always say, no one sets out to make a bad film. They're trying. I liked this film. I was more than 50-50. I was more like 60-70-ish was good, and the other bit not so much.
That's the thing, folks. If you enjoy a film and if someone else doesn't like it, don't let their opinions sway you.
No, don't, because I have to fight so many times for Final Wars. Joe just...
Yeah. It's like, I like every single Godzilla film except Space Godzilla. But,
okay.
It's like I would rather watch Godzilla vs. Megalon, which a lot of people don't like, as well as Godzilla's Revenge over Space Godzilla. So
that's quite a strong statement there.
But hey, even though I don't like Space Godzilla, our listeners, if you enjoy Space Godzilla, fair enough. Simple as that.
We're a very welcoming fandom. As long as you watch a monster movie and don't bash us for watching it, we're all good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right then.
I don't think I can say anything more on The Cave. I just hope you watch it and let me know your thoughts. So we're going to have to move on to If Nothing Else. Connor, If Nothing Else.
If nothing else, buy the Kong script that's coming out from PS Publishing, and also watch The Descent.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say, if nothing else, watch The Cave. I want to say watch The Guyver, but perhaps hold off to wait for this, new uncut version. So, up to you. If you haven't seen it before, check it out because it's a fun film.
Also see the sequel as well, because
watch Dark Hero.
The Guyver on that one is played by David Hayter.
David Hayter, yes.
Of course, is Solid Snake. Metal Gear. Yeah. That's another episode with brought up Hideo Kojima. It's like...
yeah, we'll get him on the podcast because I'm sure Hideo would love to come and join us.
I'm sure if we just measure him on Twitter, he'll just respond to...
yeah, I'll drop him a tweet. He can talk up Death Stranding too. It'll be fine.
Yeah, true.
Okay, well, that's episode 114 wrapped up on The Cave. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, listeners. And until next time, keep it kaiju.
Keep it kaiju.